Well, how you doing? It's Colin Daniel here from riffninja.com. Good to see you. If you're here, it's because you're struggling trying to get your fingers moving. And if you just heard what I played just a few seconds ago, it would take quite nimble fingers to do that. And I've got a couple things for you here that'll really help you. If, some of us were lucky enough that we started young. When you're younger, your hands and your mind and your body adjust. We're really flexible as kids. But as we get older and we start later in our life playing, depending on the type of work we do, our hands can be incredibly stiff. And it can be even hard to get chord changes. And here's a few things that I've found that have really helped. They still help me to this day. If my hands are a little stiff from the cold, it's like as you get older, even if you're a really good player, as you get older, you have to try different tricks to make your hands. Now, if you practice this faithfully, I'm just going to put my guitar down here for a second. If you practice this faithfully, the first one has got nothing to do with the guitar, actually. It's got to do with just your hands. This is actually a yoga exercise I found that really helps a lot. Since we're always grabbing the guitar like this, and we're using these tendons this way, we're not using the inside tendons at all. And those are the ones that tighten up. Like if you're a mechanic or, you work with a shovel, you work with something where you have to grab tools all day, you're using the other tendons on the other side, but these are getting tight on the inside. This is also good exercise for people that have had carpal tunnel syndrome or tendonitis, anything like that. It works really good. I've had a lot of professional players over my years of teaching come to me, and this can solve some of these problems. Okay, so here it is. You put your fingertips together and your palms and all your fingertips. Now you spread the fingers out like that, as far as you can, okay? Open them up. You can do this sitting or standing. Now the biggest trick, the hardest thing to do, now you want to point your hand in, and your palm is touching, and all your fingers are touching, they're all flat, and you're spreading the fingers out like that, right? Like that. You want to try and relax. I can do this because I practice it a lot. And now up around where your mouth is, where your face is, about center, you can see the way I'm sitting here. Not too much. You can go a little lower if you want. I like to have it up a little higher. I feel it more in my shoulders. Now you start to push. Keep breathing normally. You push. Let your palms come out, but keep your fingers touching. All the joints of your fingers touching, but open up your palms. Now you should do this slowly and don't push any harder. Don't push any harder than you can, and then hold it for no more than a 5 count. Especially if you're just beginning at this. Me, I can do this for quite a while. Your elbows should be parallel and release slowly, right? Your elbows, though, should be parallel to the ground. Now, I'm going to go over this again one more time because this is important. You don't want to strain your hand. If it hurts too much, you're straining it. Just take your time with it. If your hand's really stiff and you can't push very much, then don't. Just push till you feel it. You should feel it in here, in your wrists here. You should feel it up in your shoulders here. And in the back of your arm a little bit. In here, though, is really important in this area here, the inside of your tendons. Okay, one more time I'm going to do this. So fingertips together, like that. Spread them out as far as you can. Now, about face level, turn your hand, just your fingers are pointing into your face, right? And make sure your elbows aren't down like that or your elbows aren't way up like that, okay? Try and keep them as fairly close as you can with your fingers pointing in. Now, slowly push out with your palm. Keeping your fingers touching, all of them, thumb too, keeping them spread as you're doing that. Hold it as far out as you can push it without hurting yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then slowly release. Okay, that's a really, really good exercise. And you do 3 of those 3 times a day, especially if your hands are really stiff. In about 3 to 6 months from now, if you practice that faithfully, your hand will warm up and it'll be a lot better. It'll move a lot better. Now, one more thing. After you've done 3 of these hand stretches, here's a scale exercise. Once your hand is, and you'll feel it right away, but you won't really notice the full effects to this for 3 to 6 months, depending on where your hand's at and how stiff your hand is. Now here's a really simple exercise that really helps on the guitar to physically orient yourself with the fingerboard of the guitar. I call this the cheater chromatic scale. It's a really good exercise. You don't have to play it fast. You can play it really slow. It's just start to connect your hand with your right hand and connect with the muscles in your fingers so that you start to get the hang of what it feels like, and your muscles start to get conditioned a bit that way. You're training your muscles, right? You can start this anywhere. I'll start at the 5th fret today. It's 1 finger per fret. So my first finger takes care of the notes on the 5th fret. My second finger takes care of any notes on the 6th fret. My third finger takes care of any notes on the 7th fret. And my pinky takes care of any notes on the 8th fret. And now just one note at a time. Then cross over. 4 fingers, 4 frets, across the whole entire fretboard. One note at a time. If you want some more trickery for your right hand, practice alternate picking at all times. Down, up, 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 down, up. When you get to the highest note, come back down. One of the best finger exercises, and we actually use this in jazz and in rock and roll and metal. We actually use this scale. It's not a pure chromatic scale. It's a cheater scale. It skips notes. But the idea, and try to use your fingertips more, you know. Try to keep your hand nice and squared up like mine is. If your hand's really slow and your right hand isn't good, you can just practice laying your fingers down, then moving over a fret and laying them down 1 finger at a time on each fret. Start that way first, without even picking it. You know, once you get the hang of that, then start picking it. First going up in scale. Then once you get that down, then go in reverse. From high to low instead of from low to high. From low to high, you go from your 5th fret to your 8th fret. That's the highest note on that string. Now you cross over, start again. You know, start again. But play your notes evenly. When you get to the highest note, don't repeat it. Just go back down. Do that for half an hour to 45 minutes every day, along with that finger stretch 3 times. Do it 3 times in groups of 3s, 3 times a day, and after a little while. And give yourself some time with this scale, this chromatic cheater scale, because it's not a pure chromatic scale, but it's a really good warmer-upper, and it's used in all kinds of songs and solos. And you'll be able to figure that out later. But just generally, even if you don't want to shred or play really fast and you want your chord changes to improve, or you want your right hand to be a little better, or you just want your hand to loosen up a bit, these 2 simple exercises work extremely well. And from my years and years of teaching, I've seen a lot of really good results come from this if it's practiced and used for a little while. You got to give it time. It won't happen right away. It's not an instant cure. But if you practice it for a while and combine those 2 that I've just shown you, it'll really help you. All right, good luck. I hope this really helps. And if you like what I've offered you today, I got a really great beginner's course. It's called the Definitive Beginner's Guide to Acoustic Guitar. And that's at riffninja.com/beginner. Take care of yourself and play lots. See you next time.